Alright guys, good. Well, happy late morning to all of you, and what is going on? How y'all doing today? Again, hope you guys are continuing to stay safe out there with what's going on with the coronavirus. I keep saying right now, this is the Club with the Man 1993, and I am here live to continue on reviewing all pay-per-views that I did not get to review while I was gone. So I am here now to review WWE Clash of Champions 2019. This took place at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, back on September 15th, 2019. And this show, definitely one of the weakest shows of 2019. I wouldn't say it was awful, but it was very skippable. It was, you could watch it one time and be fine with it, but it's not a show I will go back and watch again. There was one thing on the show, one thing that I'm going to rant about, one thing that pissed me off more than everything else. I mean, the match of the night, no doubt about it, was definitely the Raw Women's Championship match. Everything else to me just either disappointing or just was what it was. Wasn't really anything like, I mean, stuff was decent or solid, but again, very skippable show. Just felt like a show that just didn't really need to happen. It was an episode of Raw, pretty much, I would say, or SmackDown, whichever one you want to pick. Again, we can't pick now because of the brand split. It's not like years ago when there wasn't a brand split, so it could always be saying, this is an episode of Raw. No, this was just a regular weekly televised show, I thought, in my opinion. Except it was just an 11-match pay-per-view. That's what it ended up being. There were 9 matches on the main card, 2 matches on the pre-show. I say that because there's one of them that I'm going to just rip limb from limb because it made me so mad. So mad! For sure. So, let's get right into it, guys. First, let's check the live chat. As always, we've got Charlie Kelly. What's up, Charlie? Saying hi. How are you? Britain is on lockdown. I mean, I'm doing the best I can right now. Also, again, like, we pretty much got issued a stay-at-home, policy yesterday, so we kind of are on lockdown as well. We can still go out for, grocery shopping or, anything, like, if it's, like, an emergency. Like, the only time I get to go out is, get food, or, right now I have a sick family member that we're taking care of that, we go out for that as well. But other than that, unless I go out for, like, a walk, like, in my neighborhood, again, I can't go out right now. And, I'm not really working right now because my company shut down till further notice, and I do have a freelance project to work on, but as I keep saying, I'm just, trying just to hang in there and just know at some point this all will, die down and we will all be able to move on and have normal lives again. But as I keep saying, guys, I just pray for those who are definitely, being, struggling through this, like, harder than, like, the other one people are, and for those who are sick as well, and for the families as well, who are dealing with those that are sick, during this tough time. But, yes, thank you for asking me about that, Charlie Kelly, and I hope you're staying safe as well over there, too. So let's talk about Clash of Champions. There were 2 matches on the pre-show. The first one, I expected to be on the pre-show. The first one was a triple threat match for the Cruiserweight Championship. I believe, this was, I think, the last pay-per-view, because this was the Sunday before NXT had its first live show, but this was the last time on a main roster pay-per-view the Cruiserweight Championship was defended, because it would become the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. But it was Drew Gulak, the current champion at the time, taking on Humberto Carrillo, or Alberto, and Lince Dorado, or as whenever the Lucha House Party was feuding with Drew Gulak and his crew at the beginning of the 205 Live days of Triple H, he called him Lince Dorito. I thought that was pretty funny. I don't think I really got to... No, that's right. I did not get to watch the pre-show matches, but I heard the match was pretty solid. A couple little botches in it. The story was a little bit odd. I mean, I think Dorado was the one who got the pin in this match, from what I read. I can't remember. But basically, the storyline was kind of like, Carrillo was Gulak's trying to take Carrillo under his wing. But of course, Carrillo, just wasn't having it basically after a while. So that's kind of tied in there. And then Lince Dorado was kind of being teased to be splitting up from the Lucha House Party, I remember. Arya Daivari was trying to, get in his head that, hey, these guys are getting, are like holding you back and whatnot. And then he started, winning matches by himself and whatnot. So obviously, I thought around this time they were going to turn Lince Dorado heel and split up the Lucha House Party. Because at this time there was some rumors, I'm not sure if it's still going to happen or not, that Kalisto was thinking about leaving the company after his contract had expired, and which is we read after WrestleMania this year. So I don't know if that was the case or not, but Gulak retained, which I thought the reason why they would put Dorado in this match, just have him retain, is I really thought at first, until they moved to NXT, that Gulak was going to drop that Cruiserweight Championship to Carrillo, but I wanted him to get like a good lengthy run out of it, because I think he definitely earned it for sure. And he is definitely one of the stars that really, really developed during the time when Triple H took over 205 Live, when 205 Live felt relevant to me. But Gulak would retain, as I thought was expected to happen and need to be as well. So I'm glad we had that happen. This next match, though, I'm going to tear limb from limb. You want my rant of the show? Here is my rant. The second match on the pre-show. AJ Styles and Cedric Alexander for the United States Championship. On the pre-show. AJ Styles and Cedric Alexander. WWE, what were you thinking? Vince McMahon, what were you thinking? The pre-show. The freaking pre-show. Last year, WrestleMania Access, one of the people I had the pleasure to meet was Cedric Alexander. And I told him straight to his face, you're awesome, man, and you deserve to be world champion main event WrestleMania someday. And he thanked me, very appreciative of me saying that. He was a cool dude to talk to. I like talking to Cedric. Nice dude. This right here is a WrestleMania caliber main event. And they threw it on the pre-show just to set it up for Cedric Alexander to be buried. Because around the time, because they pushed Alexander for about 2 months. It was right around the time whenever Roman was feuding with Shane and Drew, and it was in that go-home match whenever some janitor was Roman's partner and ended up being Cedric Alexander. Even though I thought it was stupid of them to do that, I'm like, okay, they're giving Cedric a rub. They kind of started giving him a direction, and I liked it. He was putting on great matches, and he was looking excellent. And he definitely earned this opportunity against AJ Styles. And what happened? They put it on the stinking pre-show. I didn't get to watch. When I turned on this show before it came on, and I heard that this match just ended, I'm like, what? Like, I was expecting this to be a show stealer, a match of the night candidate. AJ Styles and Cedric Alexander, a pre-show match that did nothing but just lead to Cedric Alexander being buried. Because apparently after the match, the OC came out and just beat down Cedric, the 3-on-1. Nobody came out to save him. And then, like, the next 2 weeks or so on Raw, Cedric loses to AJ like he's a nobody. Again, AJ Styles as United States... I'm not blaming AJ for this. AJ Styles as United States Champion should have been like John Cena as United States Champion. I wouldn't say, exact duplicate, but, like, along those lines. Yes, he feuded with some, younger stars like Ricochet. And I wouldn't say he buried Ricochet. I know I kind of said in my Raw view last night, he didn't bury Ricochet. Brock Lesnar and Riddick Moss buried Ricochet. But I feel like, they definitely didn't hit the high note with Ricochet. I don't think, him and Humberto Carrillo's feud didn't really do much for me, unfortunately, for Humberto. I think Humberto's benefited more from having these, constant luchador matches with Andrade, Cien Almas, Angel Garza, and Rey Mysterio. I think he's benefited from those more than AJ. But this was a pure burial. A pure burial through a match that was a dream match of mine and a WrestleMania caliber main event. AJ Styles, Cedric Alexander should not be on the stinking pre-show. They shouldn't. I'm sorry. And this has made me so mad. Cedric Alexander is super talented. A guy that the fans just won over in the Cruiserweight Classic. They chanted, "Please sign Cedric." Triple H acknowledged it. Had an excellent run as Cruiserweight champion 2 years ago. And I kept saying this guy deserves more than just... Like, this is a position he needs to be. Fighting for AJ Styles for a mid-card title at this time? Excellent. Some may know it should be him and AJ Styles for a world championship. And it's not going to happen. You know why? Because Vince sees nothing in him. Vince sees nothing in him. Totally ridiculous. Again, I didn't even get to watch this match. I don't even want to bother watching it because I know it was just set up Cedric for burial. And when I turned on the TV to get ready to watch the main card, and I heard that this show took place on the pre-show, I was pissed. I was livid. And I just... I still cannot believe WWE did this. Not just buried Cedric, but put this match, a match that should have been a match of the night, could be a match of the year candidate, for crying out loud. Put it on the stinking pre-show. Totally unnecessary, totally unacceptable, and again, it just made me super angry. And it still does to this day, unfortunately. Like, you see the match that Cedric and Ricochet had last night as a tag team against Andrade, Cien Almas, and Angel Garza. It was a good match, despite no crowd. I thought it was a good match. They didn't make them look like idiots. I'm like, these guys are freaking talented. It's awesome. But no, he's not going to be anything as long as Vince is around, unfortunately. And it makes me sad. And I feel bad. I believe in this. Again, I told the guy who was face last year at WrestleMania, you deserve to be world champion, main eventing WrestleMania. And he thanked me for it. He thanked me for it. Great conversation, great dude. I'm glad I had a chance to meet him. AJ too, it was cool when I met him as well. But you know, I'm sorry, but this is my rant of this show. I mean, there's one match I'm going to kind of rant on a little bit, but this just made me so angry. Again, this should have been on the main show, stealing the show. Instead, we get a pre-show match, a throwaway pre-show match to bury Cedric. And I've said enough about it. That's all I will say about this, of course. But, you know, I'm sure it will come up again, because it made me angry. But yeah, just a bunch of idiots backstage doing this. Alright, so move on to the main card now. The first match, as I predicted, would be the first match, of course, is the Raw Tag Team Championship match. And it was the tag champions, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman, who they're also feuding with each other for the Universal Championship, taking on the team of Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Now, this match happened because Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins had a common enemy in the OC. And then they would take care of the OC by winning the tag titles. But Strowman obviously had eyes for Rollins' Universal Championship, setting up for the main event of this card, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship. Weird storytelling there, but it was what it was. But then they had a gauntlet for the number one contenders for the tag titles. And it was Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, the only team that literally just randomly formed out of the blue, who won this match. Why? Or got number one contenders. Why? Yes, they're both talented. And around this time also, I do remember, I can't remember what it was for, it was some number one contenders match. It had to have been after this pay-per-view, actually. No, I know what it was. It was that match to get the number one contender for the Raw season premiere on that last Raw before Hell in a Cell. And Robert Roode put on an excellent performance. I would say one of the best performances on the main roster. Like, shown, like, as a heel, there is something there. As a babyface, he had, like, no peak periods. As a heel, though, he's had his peak periods. So, like, this tag team with Roode and Ziggler somewhat works, but it was still, at the time, just super random. And, you know, it's like, why is, like, a random tag team taking on, well, two random tag teams taking on each other for the Raw tag titles? The match was fun. I mean, I would say it was a solid match, a decent. As expected, you know, there was a little bit of miscommunication between Rollins and Strowman, which led to Ziggler and Roode briefly winning the tag titles before dropping them to the Viking Raiders. Probably sometime in October, I think it was, it happened. So that happened there, so they won the match. But then they didn't really tease I mean, yes, they obviously had like Seth and Braun staring at each other like you screwed up, but then Seth just walked away, and then they never you know clashed each other until the main event, which we'll talk about that later. So I mean, it was not bad, but once again, like, why are Ziggler and Rude teaming up together? It made no sense. I mean, right now it's kind of working a little bit, but as far as what they're doing now, but as far as the story of them coming together, again, we don't know why. It makes no sense. So why should I care? Unfortunately, Ziggler Rude win again, as I said, and the match was again decent and whatnot. Let me see what we got here. But yeah, moving on now to the next match on the card for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Bayley and Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now this was kind of like an odd situation here. At the time, it was kind of heel on heel because Bayley had just started turning her slow heel turn. I mean, she was definitely a heel, but she wasn't like full out heel yet. And as I've said in my Turner alert when I did for Bayley, a lot of people were not happy the way how Bayley still had the same theme music, still had the ponytail and whatnot, and was doing her usual stuff, the whacking inflatable tube men and whatnot. Honest opinion, I like that they still went with it for like a month, and the reason why is because it made sense with the story. Bayley kept saying that nothing has changed. I'm still Sasha's best friend, but she was obviously just starting to be drawn under Sasha's dark cloud. You would have to wait till we had that one moment where she finally just exploded and just, went full on heel, which was the second SmackDown after it debuted on Fox. That's when Bayley had officially fully cemented herself as a heel. This was just, her just, in an effective way, slowly draining out, having people, boo her babyface character, not just because, it sucked, but because, start planting those seeds. Kind of like what Chris Jericho did in 2016, right before he turned heel. He was purposely getting the crowd to think that Jericho was doing stupid stuff and it was dumb, just so he can get that heat for when he turned heel. And to me, even though it was weird, it worked. And I think it's the case for Bayley and Charlotte. The match was what it was. I wouldn't say it was anything too special, because we've probably seen this match, alright, how many times? Bayley won, though, by, I think, putting her feet on the rope, so, having some heel tactics, but again, still thinking she's the same role model as she's been this entire time, but once again, slowly falling under Sasha's dark cloud. But again, it hasn't really told that story since, unfortunately, so now it's still weird. Now Bayley's in a six-pack challenge at WrestleMania. I don't know. But Bayley retains over Charlotte Flair in just a skippable match, and it just was what it was. But the next match, say on the SmackDown side, was for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The New Day, which when I was making these graphics, I completely forgot Xavier Woods was still around this time. This was not too long before Xavier Woods suffered his Achilles injury. That's probably going to keep him out until the beginning of 2021, I think. He's going to be out for about a year and a half, I think. So it's Big E and Xavier Woods in the New Day taking on, at the time they were on Raw. This was right when the wild card rule was starting to die down, thank goodness. But I actually was for this title change here, but I took on the Revival. They've obviously had some history with each other. And around this time also, this is when Kofi and Orton were feuding. And I was really, really digging that stable with Orton and the Revival. I loved it. I thought it was a great stable. They should have stuck with it and kept going with it, but of course it just ended with a whimper after this pay-per-view, out of the blue. But the Revival would win the tag titles here. Solid match. Again, these two have always seemed to have good chemistry with each other. I mean, their best match for sure was that ladder match at TLC. We'll talk about that when we get to TLC. I thought that was a good match. I mean, this was solid as well. And the Revival win. And even though they were on Raw at the time, I was fine with them winning these because I figured they were going to be going to SmackDown in the upcoming Superstar Shakeup. So I was cool with this. And again, I wanted to see them take the next step and literally, do something more with this faction. Of course, as I thought we were going to be leading into a Hell in a Cell match with Orton and Kofi, that did not happen, so that might have been why they pulled the plug on this, but who knows. But also because Revival were planning on re-signing. And they're not re-signed now, they're off TV, they weren't even in the Elimination Chamber match, and now we're just waiting for their contracts to expire, and they're getting their buzz at AEW and just kicking some rear end, just Brody Lee, Luke Harper, and Matt Hardy are gonna do. Um, but yeah, that's my thoughts on this match. Let's check the live chat again and see if we got anything in the live chat. Let me see here. Charlie's back saying that match with AJ and Cedric should have been the main event. Oh yes, I already said that. I'm not gonna, continue to rant about it again. Don't let me start again, but yes. Seth and Braun weren't tag champions long enough. They should have been champs at least till TLC. I guess, but again, I feel like this was just a paper move, just to, again, like, tell a story between them. It was very lazy, but to me it was what it was. What didn't make sense was she turned heel, but she loved the crowd even though they booed her and wrestling dirty. Again, like I said, I personally felt that worked because Bayley thought that everything was still staying the same. And like she thought that she was doing what was right, and the crowd just kept. And then it took her a few weeks to realize until she lost the title to Charlotte Hell in a Cell. That's when she finally just snapped. So it wasn't too long, but I liked how they did that. Again, if it went on too much longer with it, then yes, I would say this is getting ridiculous. But I like how they kind of kept things the same for about a month before she went full on heel for sure. Cutting the hair, limiting the two women, and just changing the attitude 100%. I think to me, I personally thought that worked. Why does the Revival get so many tag opportunities, but they never win? They should have put someone like the B Team or Lucha House Party, make it more entertaining. True. I mean, again, they did win the tag titles. Though this one and such, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, when they're having match, they can prove they can put on good matches, but Vince just tries all he can just to put these guys down further, and then they can't. But once again, it's not going to happen because they're going to be out of here soon. We put on awesome matches. Also, when will your next stream be? Because I live in the UK, so I can't always join. No worries. Again, I mean, I don't know. Again, it just all depends right now. Again, I have like a lot going on. Well, even though I'm out of work right now until the coronavirus settles down again, I'm helping take care of a sick relative. And I'm just day by day right now with everything. So I can't tell you for sure. I mean, I probably will still try to review AEW tomorrow night since I'll be home, unless an emergency happens. But that'll probably sometime tomorrow. Again, if you can't make it live, no worries. Just come back whenever you want and just watch the streams and catch up or whatever. So again, just no worries. Not mad at all if you can't make it. So thank you for yourself in the live chat there, Charlie. Let's move on now. So we just did that. We then had R-Truth and Carmella holding a boom mic for an Alexa Bliss Nikki Cross interview. And then of course Alexa Bliss just sold out R-Truth trying to ruin the fact that hey the champ was right here. And that's when people still chase after the 24/7 title, even though they look like a bunch of low card buffoons. And I think it's annoying and it's stupid. But they had to get involved somehow. I'd rather have this booking for a 24/7 title though than what they did with Riddick Moss and Mojo Rawley. I hate the fact that they couldn't even have anybody acknowledge the 24/7 championship role and just have it be defended and no one else would come after. I thought that was absolutely stupid. I thought. So speaking of which, that's set up for our next match, which was for the women's tag titles. It was Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross taking on Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville's Fire and Desire. Was what it was. Again, there's no depth in this women's tag television. The entertaining part was when R-Truth came out in the middle of the match with Carmella, and then it looked like and then Alexa Bliss tried to pin R-Truth for the championship, but it didn't work out. But Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross retained again. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were okay as tag champs again. I found their run, it was brief but acceptable because they actually did show up and actually defend those belts and wrestle unlike the Iconics, who did absolutely nothing. I mean, part of it was not their fault. Again, I heard rumors the only reason why they put the women's tag titles in the Iconics, they were supposed to have a feud with the Bellas, but then when obviously the Bellas weren't going to be able to come back in the end, they basically didn't know what to do with them. So again, I was okay with their tag title run, and again, the match was what it was. It was decent, I would say, but nothing really too special to write home about. Nothing I'll remember. This match also, if there was a match I felt should have been on the pre-show, it was this one. Shinsuke Nakamura and The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. I didn't care. This was right at the beginning of Sami Zayn being Shinsuke Nakamura's manager, and I've ranted on this how many times. Like, I don't understand why Vince continues just to humiliate Sami Zayn, make him a literal annoying joke on TV. Again, he's literally the newest Enzo Amore. I'll say it that way. And, I mean, not because I think Sammy's hated backstage or anything, but because, he's literally out there just to run his mouth and get beat up. And then they put the Intercontinental title on him eventually, which, again, was so stupid. We'll talk about that when we get to Elimination Chamber. But, again, I don't care about this at all. Again, this should have been a pre-show match. It should have been a stinking pre-show match. That's all it should have been. And I don't know why it was on the main show. So this was whatever. Shinsuke retains, as, we all expected. But next, though, was my match of the night. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. This was very well done. An excellent match. Obviously, the heat between these two already. Sasha had returned a month earlier tonight after SummerSlam, turned heel, and just caused a vicious beatdown on Natty and Becky Lynch as well with steel chairs. Sasha came back. It was on fire. And I thought that she should have won the Raw Women's Championship either here or at Hell in a Cell. I was able to kind of yes, I'm disappointed she went at Hell in a Cell, but Hell in a Cell was still an awesome match that these two had. But it was definitely destined for it. But this was definitely meant to be a great match just to set up Hell in a Cell between these two. But again, these two have great chemistry together. It was an awesome match, and of course, things took it to the next level. Obviously, these two weren't able to put each other away with their submission maneuvers and such. Nothing was working, so obviously the two of them just got so heated with each other. Obviously, taking us to a whole nother level and setting up for Hell in a Cell. Becky got disqualified, using the steel chair on Sasha, and these two did have a big flat-out brawl throughout the arena. After the bell rang, they had to separate the two of them. But again, this was just to set them up for a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell, which was, again, the right idea, and it was awesome. And, yep. Again, definitely my match tonight for sure for this show. I don't know about you guys, but again, I loved it. Even though, of course, there was not a definite winner. To me, it was great storytelling, from a non-finish match to get ready for the Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell. Next up, we had Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship in a rematch from SummerSlam. I'm going to continue to say the same thing I said from SummerSlam. The storytelling and the build in this feud, I thought was excellent. Story was told so good. Again, Orton, just being, the heel he is, was awesome. And having the Revival involved as well, and going after, the New Day members and feud with them as well, the stuff they did with them was excellent. The build and everything for both SummerSlam and Clash of Champions was excellent. I hated, again, the ending to the match at SummerSlam. I didn't think the match at SummerSlam was that good. I thought that maybe they just did that, even though it's, obviously, not good storytelling, but I thought they were trying to build this to be a Hell in a Cell match, which I thought, yes, this should be Hell in a Cell, because of the history these two have with each other, obviously. This goes back to 2009. Again, a long history that this is a feud that's set for Hell in a Cell. Instead, they went out there and put on kind of another match on the same level as SummerSlam, and then Kofi just wins clean. And to me, then it just ended like that Friday on SmackDown when they took on Orton and the Revival on SmackDown, and the New Day just pinned one of the members of Revival, and that was the end of the feud. That's it. That's all it is. It just felt like it ended on just a whimper. Like this should have had some, big, explosive ending that, even if they would have had, Orton beat Kofi or something like that, or Orton, go on to injure Kofi instead of, just try to, do some stupid, wonky crap in front of his family to the extent it's to Hell in a Cell. Okay, but to me, just Kofi winning clean, the match was not much special. I'm like, Like that's it. There should have been something else to this feud. I felt for it to end on like a more explosive, hallelujah. Kofi got his big moment. To me, it was just like Kofi won, and it's like we should have known it was going to happen. Like that's why I felt the story told. And of course, that led to eventually Kofi getting squashed by Brock Lesnar in 6 seconds on the first SmackDown on Fox for Kofi to drop the title. And all Kofi can say whenever The Miz, bashes him about it was, well, first, Miz, it was 8 seconds, but Miz, you suck. The fact he doesn't even care anymore about getting his championship back at all, it's just, it was disappointing for sure. And the storytelling in this feud was excellent, but the matches and the ending, I'm sorry, it disappointed me. I wasn't that impressed, unfortunately. So that's what I gotta say about that match. 2 matches left. Match number 10, the only non-title match of this show. Roman Reigns and Erick Rowan in a no disqualification match. Here's my second rant of the night. What was the point of this? I mean, the match itself was physical. I would say as a wrestling match in general, it was not bad. But what was the whole point of this? This whole storyline with Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, this whole who attacked Roman Reigns storyline was so botched. It made no sense to me whatsoever. Rowan was attacked before SummerSlam, obviously preventing him from having a SummerSlam opponent, which I'm still surprised to this day. Even though it was different, I am still super surprised Roman Reigns did not have a match at SummerSlam. I still cannot believe they left Roman Reigns off that card. Even though, it was not a bad idea for something different, but, But, with how the story went, with that stupid reveal of that botched, Erick Rowan lookalike, Bryan and Rowan were trying to, say, this is your true attacker, and it's revealed as an Erick Rowan lookalike. To me, it looked like Daniel Bryan knew that Erick Rowan and that Erick Rowan was involved in this attack. But in the moment that it was revealed that Rowan was, when Buddy Murphy revealed it, then all of a sudden Bryan's like, he had no idea. Like, again, that's why, even though, again, I love Daniel Bryan, but I'll say again, I felt the transition to him being a babyface again was somewhat off, because, again, him, like, just the way they split up him and Rowan, I didn't think made sense to me. And then, yeah, so then, Rowan just randomly starts, beating up Daniel Bryan. Like, why did he beat him up? I mean, yes, he's been, just someone's, I mean, they tried, again, this one is bad. Erick Rowan tried in the push he got, but I'm sorry, I never saw singles potential in him at all. Saying that, he feels disrespected, he feels like he's been nothing but someone else's puppet, which is kind of true, but still, like, there was nothing to this. Like, Erick Rowan, he won the match because Luke Harper returned, who I was surprised. I thought he was done for good. He basically returned for this one feud with they had the tag match, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Rowan, and Harper at Hell in a Cell, and I think it was a no holds barred match. I think it was. I can't remember for sure what stipulation it was, but I'll check when we do the Hell in a Cell review. But they returned for that, and then he disappeared, and then he was released in December. So I was confused as to why they did that, but to me, this should have been Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. It was if they were going to do one more thing before turning Daniel Bryan face again, they should have done Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. That's what this should have been. To me, this was a waste of time because Rowan beat Roman, yet he went on just to have a brief run with a mysterious cage that ended up being just a spider. And it was dumb. And again, this whole storyline was just botched the way it was. And to this day, I just look back and I'm just like, what was the whole point of this? Like, why was this even a pay-per-view match? Like, Roman Reigns and Erick Rowan, not a pay-per-view match at all. I don't get it. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was a waste of time. I mean, the match itself they had in the show wasn't too bad, but what was the point of it? There was no point of it whatsoever, I thought. Erick Rowan wins with help from Luke Harper, and again, it's set up for the tag match at Hell in a Cell with Bryan and Roman taking on Rowan and Harper. And then finally, the main event, Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman for the Universal Championship. These two went into the night being Raw Tag Team Champions and dropped the titles as expected, and then they would have this match. Obviously, they did that just to kind of tell like a lazy but was what it was storyline. And even though it was very obvious that we're tired of seeing Braun Strowman lose in main event title matches, we knew Seth was going to win. We knew there was no way they were going to take the title off of Seth and put it on Strowman. Would have been nice to see Strowman finally get that Universal Championship, but it was not going to happen. I thought the match was solid to good. They put on a good, big man versus, smaller man match. I thought, Braun did his best to, still come across as looking good. But once again, at this point, it's like, that's all he does is loses, main event matches. So the storyline telling, average. Match itself, solid to decent, I thought. It is what it is. Seth Rollins, retained the Universal Championship. After the match, though, while on the ramp, the Fiend Bray Wyatt appeared and attacked him because he had said, he was challenging the winner to this match to a Hell in a Cell match at Hell in a Cell. We'll have a lot to talk about that when we get to our Hell in a Cell review next. But that is pretty much going to do it for this show, guys. Clash of Champions 2019. I wouldn't say it was absolutely horrible, but definitely weak and a skippable show. A show that I would only watch one time. Nothing too memorable, other than again the Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks match. I thought was definitely match of the night. Everything else passable. I gave the show a C. That's all it deserves. It deserves a C. Let's check the live chat before I go off the air again. Let me see here. Some new Charlie. Let me see here. Why didn't Carmella and Truth both get put on the same brand? Because they were so entertained together as 24/7 champions. Because now apparently WWE's trying to keep couples together. And since Carmella and Corey Graves are together, Corey Graves is going to SmackDown. So that's why. I don't know why, but yeah. Again, they were a great act together, but I like to see Sonya and Mandy as women's tag champions. It would be a big push for them, and I think they would have been the push. Oh, for sure. I mean, I definitely think they've both gotten better. When Paige first retired, it was basically just the two of them. I wasn't a fan of them, but I do think they have gotten better for sure. They're still not excellent, but I would say they've gotten better. I did think their best performance, though, was definitely in the Women's Elimination Chamber for the Women's Tag Titles last year at Elimination Chamber. But, it is what it is. But again, I still think those tag titles are pointless. Why did they do Shinsuke versus The Miz? Because it wasn't long after The Miz got into a feud with Bray, and then he turned heel, like you said. Pointless. Again, the thing I keep saying is Miz had something to him as a babyface this time. This was WWE's fault, not his. WWE did not capitalize on the babyface momentum that he had there that they could have, gone forward with. That's on WWE, not The Miz. But this was just a throwaway match. I knew going to this match, Becky would win because they won at least one more WrestleMania with her champion. Maybe, yeah, it could have been the case. I mean, I thought that Sasha was definitely ready to take the title off her, but why do this match where Kofi will win against Orton, but they completely disrespect the championship and then just hand the title to Brock with Vince knowing the crowd despises Brock? Exactly. Well, and the thing was, why were they, if they were really trying to, get the ratings going off good on SmackDown, one, why did they, put the championship on a part-timer? And two, I mean, yes, I know that since Bray came over to SmackDown, and then, obviously they couldn't, pass up on putting the Universal title on him because of the backlash they got from Hell in a Cell. But they ended up putting Brock back on Raw anyway. So, yeah, that was so stupid. And, I mean, I'm not saying Kofi had to win the title back, but at least give him, that rematch where he at least put on that good performance to show that he actually had a chance, instead of looking like a nobody and be like, it's alright, it's all good, being a pushover about it, but I thought it was dumb. Why do this match? Because Daniel had already turned on him, and Rowan didn't even win anyway, but I'd say it was better than Shinsuke and Miz with the storyline anyways. I mean, again, the match with Roman and Rowan, wrestling-wise, was pretty physical. They tried, but again, the storyline was just botched in general, I thought personally. And Charlie said, see you, bro. See you later, man. Alright, but yeah, that's going to do it for my Clash of Champions review, guys. I give it a C. Next up is Hell in a Cell 2019. Oh, boy. Oh, that one. Hell in a Cell. This show is weak. Wait till we talk about Hell in a Cell. That, to me, is my worst pay-per-view of 2019. You can make an argument that maybe Clash of Champions may have been also, but Clash of Champions to me just was what it was. And TLC, I will say, was also a candidate for worst pay-per-view of the year. But I still give it to Hell in a Cell. Why? You'll find out why next. So once again, guys, what were your thoughts on Clash of Champions? I gave it a C. My match tonight was Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. Make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video. Subscribe for more content on my channel. And follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. And make sure to again just stay tuned for more to come to the channel. Again, probably AEW will be next, unless I do get to do my Hell in a Cell review today. Again, I'm trying to keep up with things, but obviously I've been focused on other things as well during my time off from work. And again, I just always just continue to stay safe during this tough time. But just know that a setback is only setting up for a comeback. And one day we will be able to be with our friends, our loved ones outside of home. And, we'll be able to, go back to our normal lives. And I just continue to pray for all of you that everything, will get better for all of us. So, guys, that's going to do it for the stream. I'm checking out. I'll see you all later. Have a great rest of your day. And peace out, buddy.